His cold indifference left her heart in ashes.
Why are you looking for me? I'm not a doctor. I can't stop your bleeding.
She lost her child and was about to lose her marriage.
For your safety, we can only perform a hysterectomy.
He carved his eternal vow as a mark of love.
Daisy, I love you and that will never change.
The return of his first love left their marriage on shaky ground.
Clara is back in the country. I'm going to the airport to pick her up.
She finally exploded in anger, unable to endure any longer.
If you truly want us to be okay, a proper ex should be like they're dead.
The love he once cherished had now become a madwoman in his eyes.
Daisy, you've really gone mad. What kind of patient acts like you?
To prove his sincerity, Leo Ashworth tattooed my name on his body in the year he loved me most. He even bought a secluded isle for our future honeymoon when we grow old. But this peaceful and blissful life collapsed when his first love returned to the country. He desperately tried every means to divorce me, removing the tattoo on his back, and firmly believing that the miscarriage was my stubborn decision. After being hurt beyond measure, I agreed to the divorce petition. However, later on, the CEO of the Ashworths, who never bowed to anyone, plastered apology letters all over the streets, begging for a fresh start with his ex-wife. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. Clara's back in the country. I won't be home tonight, I'm going to the airport to pick her up, Leo said. My hand holding the fork trembled slightly before quickly steadying again, as if nothing had happened. The hurt expression on my face was unmistakable. Just as I was about to speak, he cut me off. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm married to you now, things with her are in the past. But I hadn't even asked anything yet. And it was just my first day home after the miscarriage. Couldn't he have stayed to keep me company? Surely the staffs from the Ashworths could have found someone else to pick her up. Still, Leo was always so attentive and thoughtful, knowing just how to please a girl. The door closed quietly behind him, and I felt a door in my heart close for him too. Looking at the chicken soup Leo had supposedly gone to great lengths to make, I suddenly lost my appetite. Feeling a wave of hurt, I hurled the bowl across the room with all my strength. The noise was so loud that the housekeeper Mary heard it. She rushed upstairs to clean up the mess, muttering, "It's good you threw it out." "What do you mean it's good I threw it out?" I asked, confused. She hemmed and hawed, unable to withstand my questioning. Finally she admitted that Leo hadn't actually made any effort to cook the soup for me. He just bought it from a shop and brought it home. I was shocked. No wonder it tasted different from before. And here I'd been so understanding, thinking he was just too tired from work. Now it was clear he didn't care about me at all. He'd lied straight to my face, claiming he'd spent all afternoon making it himself. I shook my head. After all these years, I still couldn't measure up to Clara. Even though he tattooed my name on his back and announced our marriage to the world. It couldn't change the fact that he was deeply in love with Clara. I called Leo, angrily demanding answers. What's the meaning of this, Leo? The great Mr. Ashworth lying about a bowl of soup, is this how you treat me? He'd quickly understand what had happened. After a long pause, a gentle female voice came through. Daisy, are you feeling all right? Leo would never lie to you over something like soup. Clara's words dripped with mockery, implying I should be grateful to have married Leo at all and had no right to complain. Was I talking to you, Clara? Having my husband pick you up in the middle of the night, what are you playing at? Almost simultaneously, Leo shouted at me. Daisy, can't you calm down? You can't take out your bad mood on others just because you had a miscarriage. Hearing about the miscarriage, Clara quickly apologized. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. But before she could finish, Leo cut her off with a disgusted crazy woman and hung up the phone. I broke down crying. How could he do this to me? I'm his lawfully wedded wife. I'd only questioned him once, and this is how Leo treated me. Tears streamed down my face, stinging my skin. I had smashed everything in the room to pieces, even burning our beloved wedding photo. Clutching my aching abdomen, I slowly made my way to the bathroom. But I lost my balance and fell onto the cold floor. The bathroom was littered with his clothes, new and old, mature and youthful styles scattered everywhere. He must be so happy to see Clara, at least he doesn't have to face my scolding at home. Pain suddenly overwhelmed my senses. A warm flow gushed between my legs, showing no signs of stopping. I took out my phone to call Leo. I couldn't die, what would he do alone in this world? He was so afraid of being lonely. In the early years of our love, he lost his parents and grandparents one after another. Leo fell into depression. He slumped against my shoulder, defeated, telling me he wanted to give up everything and leave too. Leo felt so alone, like he had no one left to rely on in this world. I kissed his lips and earnestly told him that he still had me. Through countless suffocating nights of breakdown, Leo would plead over and over for me not to leave him, saying he feared loneliness most of all. The call connected, but his impatient voice came through. I told you nothing would happen between us. Why are you calling every half hour? Can't we trust each other as husband and wife? If I really wanted to do something, I would have done it long ago. It hurt so much I couldn't stop crying. Leo, I just fell in the bathroom. Can you take me to the hospital? I'm bleeding a lot down there. But he didn't believe me, righteously saying, "Why are you calling me? I'm a doctor, I can stop your bleeding." Such a big house and no one's home. Where's Mary gone? I explained brokenly that it was late at night and Mary had gone home hours ago. But he still didn't believe me, even insisting I was lying. Stop pretending, Daisy. This is getting ridiculous. You jump around the bathroom all the time with no problems. But conveniently have an accident right when I go to pick up Clara? What are the odds of that? But he'd forgotten I'd just had a miscarriage yesterday and was supposed to be on bed rest. Of course, with his head turned by his first love, how could he remember me? I drifted off on the cold floor. In my dreams, he berated me viciously, blaming me for stealing the happy life Clara should have had. Clara was a struggling student sponsored by the Ashworth family. Her diligence and drive won over the whole family, even capturing Leo's heart. He knelt outside my parents' door begging them to break off our engagement. Leo said he wanted true love, not a business arrangement. My parents refused angrily, making him kneel in the freezing cold for a day and night. I couldn't bear to see him suffer, so I pushed down my own feelings and convinced my parents to agree. Mom, Dad. Just agree to it. I don't even like him anyway. He's the one begging, so I'm not the one losing face. Think about your daughter's future happiness. After my pleading, my parents finally agreed. But in the end, I still ended up with Leo after all. I was rushed to the hospital by the housekeeper Mary. She was about to head home when she suddenly remembered she'd forgotten something. Upon returning, she witnessed the scene and decided to take me to the hospital. Fortunately, I survived. In my hazy state, I heard Mary calling Leo, but as expected, she was berated harshly. "Mary, how old are you? Are you still playing along with her charade? When will this end? Tell her if she continues to play, our marriage is over." Divorce. I was wheeled into the operating theater and successfully saved. But at the cost of never being able to become a mother. "I'm sorry, Ms. Harris, we did our best, but for your safety, we had to perform a hysterectomy. It's all right, at least this wretched life was spared." The television news was scrolling through Leo's latest gossip. Welcome to Orange Entertainment. According to our latest news, the CEO of the Ashworths rushed to the airport in the early hours to greet a mysterious lady. The two appeared intimate, suggesting an unusual relationship. As we all know, Mr. Ashworth and his wife have been happily married for years. Who is this suddenly appearing mysterious lady? A mutual friend of the couple, or a sign of cracks in their marriage? Stay tuned to our channel for continuous updates. Mary hurriedly turned off the television. She could understand what I was thinking, but Leo remained oblivious. He'd rather teach me a lesson, let me suffer, than believe me. Weren't we fine when we got married? He even splurged on building a private island abroad for me, saying he wanted to take me to that paradise to grow old together. As they say, beautiful scenery for a beautiful person. But in just a few years, as soon as Clara Wilson returned to the country, his heart changed, and I permanently lost the right to be a mother. There was a knock at the door. Leo strode in with Clara. Are we still going to continue this marriage? Have you had enough of your games? If so, let's get divorced. Since when did Mrs. Ashworth become so fond of playing games? Making the entire hospital staff act along with you? Don't they have work to do? Staying here to act out this melodrama with you, it makes me sick. I applauded sarcastically. Fine, let's divorce then. Let's do it now, and neither of us will regret it. Upon hearing that we were going to divorce, Clara Wilson immediately pulled out her phone to show some photos and explained. Daisy, please don't be angry. Leo is just speaking out of frustration. Nothing happened between us. It's just that my father fell ill unexpectedly, and we needed his help. Please don't misunderstand. She even dared to reason with me self-righteously. But she didn't know that her words were clearly a poor attempt at concealing the truth. I forcefully pushed her to the ground and slapped her. The crisp sound of the slap echoed through the hospital room, and she cried out in pain. To my surprise, Leo immediately shielded her behind him and shouted at me. Daisy, you've really gone mad. What kind of patient has such strength? Next time you lie, don't leave such obvious flaws. If that's how he wanted to see me, I'd show him. I might not be able to beat him, but I could certainly take on Clara. I lunged at her with my fists, punching her repeatedly, inwardly cursing Clara's behavior. She clearly knew we were married and living a better life, yet she still chose to interfere. Even after finding out I was pregnant, she went so far as to send abortion pills from abroad, disguising them as prenatal vitamins. I must have been too naive to believe her, allowing my baby to suffer. She was the one the Ashworth family called ungrateful back then. And now she's the one who caused my miscarriage. I must avenge my unborn child. Leo saw the fury in my eyes and held her tightly in his arms, unwilling to let me lay a hand on her. But if only he knew how did I miscarry. You're protecting her now, but have you thought about our baby's spirit in heaven? I asked. He was smart enough to understand what I meant, but his eyes were full of disbelief. Utterly unwilling to accept that Clara was responsible for our baby's death. Leo gritted his teeth and warned me. What kind of mother are you? You're jealous now and using the baby as an excuse. I truly regret marrying you. I knew he didn't want to believe it, so I pulled out the test results showing the drug components. No one knew how much I wanted to have a baby that looked just like Leo. No one knew how many injections I endured during the pregnancy. How much pain I suffered through, how much I went through. But such a simple drug caused my miscarriage, robbing me of my right to be a mother. After reading it, he crumpled the paper and threw it in the bin. Even if you told me today that she's a murderer or an arsonist, I wouldn't believe it. I know who she is, and I don't need you telling me what to think. I sat on the cold floor, feeling defeated, my love for him slowly fading away. From beginning to end, he never believed me. Clara, on the other hand, kept playing the victim. Leo, you have to believe me, it really wasn't me. I genuinely wanted to see you both happy. If she truly wanted us to be happy, a proper ex should act as if they were dead to us. I threw a glass of water in Clara's face, leaving her looking disheveled. But Leo's next action left me stunned. He took Clara's hand and slapped me across the face, leaving me dizzy. I looked at him in fury and disbelief. You actually hit me for her? I asked incredulously. Leo smiled coldly. I'm teaching her how to give as good as she gets. You deserved that slap. He smiled cruelly, grabbed Clara's hand, and used it to grip my hair, slamming my head against the wall repeatedly, demanding that I apologize to her. But I'm stubborn. Even if he were to kill me by smashing my head against the wall, I would never apologize. The housekeeper Mary saw the scene and began to cry, heartbroken. Stop it, both of you, please stop, can't you talk things out civilly? Finally, he stopped. I'll let you off for Mary's sake, but just because I can forgive you doesn't mean Clara will. I laughed bitterly. Let them do as they please. The man before me was truly determined to leave me. I threatened him coldly, if you walk out that door with her today, we're getting a divorce. We'll be strangers from now on, never to meet again in this lifetime. Leo didn't care at all. He even threw his head back and laughed, saying, "That's exactly what I want." It seems he's been eagerly waiting for this day. Fine, he said it himself. I hope there won't come a day when he regrets this. Leo's efficiency was remarkable. He managed to complete the divorce proceedings swiftly, even from the hospital. That very evening, Leo eagerly held a press conference to announce his divorce. The moment the news broke, all social media platforms crashed. At our grand wedding, he had made heartfelt vows to me, promising to cherish me for a lifetime. He gave me the house, the car, and financial security. He even revealed a tattoo, showering the attendees with affection. That day, the entire city was alight. Everyone said we were the epitome of love, declaring that if we ever divorced, they would lose faith in love altogether. But now, here we are, going our separate ways. He reunited with his long-lost first love, while I got my wish of divorcing him. However, I hadn't anticipated Leo's vast influence. Upon learning of our divorce, his legion of fans didn't spare a thought for the years of my youth I'd invested. They seemed to have forgotten that it was Leo who was first caught up in rumors of infidelity. They placed all the blame on me, convinced that I must have fallen for someone else. After all, how could such a perfect man want to divorce me otherwise? On the day of my discharge, some malicious individuals doused me with blood, and even threw rotten fish and prawns at me. You wicked woman! You probably got rid of the baby on purpose. Mr. Ashworth is handsome and wealthy. Why would you betray him? The accusations kept coming, and I didn't know how to explain that I wasn't the one at fault. But I'm not one to be bullied. I picked up the rotten fish and prawns from the ground and shoved them into the mouths of those who had just harassed me, forcing them to swallow. You deserve this for messing with me, I said. After that, I returned to the Harris household. My parents, seeing how thin I'd become, vowed to confront Leo for daring to mistreat their daughter. Speak of the devil, the next moment Leo walked in uninvited. My parents berated him, demanding he get on his knees. But he calmly produced a drug test report, earnestly defending his first love. I've checked, and this medication has no side effects. If you lost the baby, it's because of your own body's weakness. Don't blame everything on Clara. You're not like her, she's been through so much. Clara, always Clara. My dad, furious, grabbed his walking stick, ready to fight Leo, but I held him back. Clara is all you think about. Do you have any idea what Clara did to your grandfather? Yet you still defend her so fiercely. If you just use that pig brain of yours to investigate, you'd know. You ungrateful son, always protecting her. What's wrong with our Daisy? You want a divorce? Fine, I agree. But if you dare step foot near the Harris family again or try to entice our Daisy, I'll break your legs next time. His grandfather's death was a thorn in Leo's heart. The night before, he had been chatting happily with Leo, but after one night's sleep, he was gone. The Ashworth family claimed publicly that the grandfather died of a sudden heart attack. But in truth, Clara was responsible for his death. She had taken it upon herself to replace the grandfather's medication with vitamins, which meant he couldn't take his proper medicine when his heart condition flared up. The affairs of the Ashworth family are none of your business. Grandfather's spirit in heaven surely won't let you off either. Leo said sharply. These past few days at home, my parents have been cooking all sorts of dishes for me, trying to help me recover quickly. They even took time off work to take me on trips to lift my spirits. In this world, perhaps only parents can love me so wholeheartedly without any disgust. We've had enough fun, it's time to go home now. But when we returned, I saw Leo kneeling exhaustedly at our front door. In just a month, dark circles had formed under his eyes, which were bloodshot. He used to be the dream of countless young girls, confident and dashing. Now he looked like a homeless man. My parents looked at him with disgust and told the maid to remove this rubbish. Leo clung to my legs desperately, grabbing my sleeves as he choked out an apology. I'm sorry. Daisy, let's calm down and talk properly. Clara truly deceived me. I was blinded by infatuation and misjudged her, forgetting about you. Indeed, belated devotion is cheaper than grass. I glanced at the walking stick in my father's hand and said to Leo maliciously, Do you remember what my father said last time? He said if you dared to take one step into the Harris house again, no matter what you came for, he would break your legs. And you know, it wasn't just you who was wrong, Clara was too. Do you think everything can be resolved with just your apology? To win me back, he was willing to do anything. All right, I'll do whatever you want as long as you forgive me and accept my apology. I've investigated everything clearly now. I'll make Clara come apologize to you right away. During the time I was away traveling with my parents, the two of them had reportedly been seen entering different private clubs more than once. Everyone thought they were about to get married, but grandfather was still a thorn in their side. Whether Leo believed it or not, this matter would inevitably explode one night and gradually escalate. The truth can't stay hidden forever, it's only a matter of time. When grandfather casually mentioned feeling bitter, she switched his medicine to sweet vitamin tablets. On the surface, it seemed like she cared for grandfather's well-being. But behind his back, she was sending him to hell. It's worth noting that grandfather was the first one to oppose Leo dating her back then. She was deliberately doing harm while pretending to help. No matter how much Leo liked her, I don't think he would abandon the grandfather, who had loved him for years, and fall for such an ungrateful person. Moreover, she was just a poor scholarship student, like a bottomless pit, wanting to marry into a wealthy family and climb the social ladder by latching onto him. But Clara, how could you possibly outsmart me? So what if they got divorced? Leo still wouldn't like her. He brought her here, and they were arguing fiercely the whole way. Leo had cast aside his pride and was shouting at her hysterically. I had only one demand: for Clara to kneel down and kowtow to apologize to me and the baby in my womb. When Clara heard what I said, her eyes immediately widened in disbelief. Why should I? It's not my fault you were careless. Why should I kneel and apologize to you? I come from a poor background and have had a difficult life. Should I blame all you rich kids for stealing my chance at happiness? Should you all kneel and apologize to me then? I broke off a thorny rose stem from the garden and began whipping her with it. Blood droplets fell incessantly like loose pearls. Roses may be beautiful, but they have thorns. It doesn't matter if she doesn't apologize. I have ways to make her do so. Evil people will get their comeuppance, and I'll personally deal with that wretched woman. The pregnancy support pills you gave me were clearly meant to make me miscarry. You said it was for my own good, and as you wished, I lost the baby. But did you really think this would let you marry him? Don't think I don't know how much money you borrowed from Leo Ashworth. Did your loan-addicted father sell you off? Is that why you had no choice but to come after my husband? No, ex-husband? Clara was born in a remote area. Her mother ran off after giving birth to her, leaving Clara and her father to fend for themselves. But people are greedy and insatiable. Clara's father wanted her to have a better life, and foolishly believed rumors about getting rich quick through stock trading. He took out loans and ended up losing everything, with debt collectors constantly harassing them at home. As luck would have it, the Ashworth family was doing business in that area and met Clara. She happened to be around Leo's age, so they generously decided to support her living expenses. They thought Clara's father would settle down as she grew older. But he repeatedly asked Leo for money and even started calling me, constantly threatening to use Clara as leverage to get money from Leo. At the time, Leo persuaded me to give the money, saying it would bring good karma for our unborn child. I didn't think much of it and agreed. But now I understand, even after we were married and expecting a child, Clara was still on his mind. As my body gradually recovered, my strength increased. Clara's agonized screams echoed through the courtyard as she wailed pitifully. Clara finally broke down under the physical and mental torture. She apologized to me and revealed the truth about grandfather Ashworth's death. Yes, I deliberately harmed you. How dare you marry him and enjoy a life of wealth and luxury? Leo, didn't you say we'd be together forever? Then you went and had a child with Daisy. And that old man in your family, why wouldn't he let us be together? I had no choice but to take matters into my own hands to get what I wanted. The old man's death was no accident, I did it on purpose. He didn't want to suffer, so I sent him to heaven early to enjoy paradise. Clara had truly gone mad. After hearing her confession, Leo felt as if he'd plunged into an icy abyss. His first love, to whom he'd given his whole heart, was actually the murderer of his own grandfather. At first he didn't want to believe it, but now Clara had laid it all out in the open. She really was cold-blooded and evil. She deserved to die. Fighting back the pain in his heart, Leo told her to get out of the Harris house. Get out. I never want to see you again. My grandfather treated you well, he just didn't want you to marry me. Grandpa was right, he saw people and situations more clearly than I did. I must have been out of my mind to choose to be with you back then. Leave now. From this day forward, you're a stranger to me. Don't come looking for me again no matter what happens. He resolutely bid Clara farewell, saying that Daisy was now the one person he couldn't let down. Clara struggled to her feet. Her once white dress was now stained with blood and dirt. She suddenly rushed towards the gate, but was accidentally hit by a large truck and sent flying several meters. I called emergency services, urging the traffic police to quickly clear away the ominous mess in front of my house. However, Leo remained unmoved. Watching his former sweetheart get hit by a lorry, he showed no reaction aside from shedding a few quiet tears before falling silent. Since Clara had already apologized on her knees, I decided to let bygones be bygones. Leo Ashworth, how shall we settle this score? I stared at him with hollow eyes, hoping to find answers in his gaze, but all I saw was avoidance. He may have had the chance to make amends, but that doesn't mean I'll give him the opportunity to apologize. Only by making Leo live the rest of his life in regret would I be satisfied. Only then would I feel it atones for our lost child. I shut the front door tightly, refusing to let Leo in without my permission. Now he couldn't even see me. To clear his name, Leo bought citywide live broadcast time. He approached the temple on his knees, kowtowing with each step. When asked why, he said it was to pray for blessings for his child and ex-wife. He also sincerely apologized to me on camera, listing all his mistakes over the years. Leo's fans also called out to us, hoping we could reconcile. Everyone understands that broken relationships can't be mended. Since I had made up my mind to say goodbye to him, I wouldn't give him another chance. After failing to pray for our child, he bought a small house next door to mine. Every day he would sit there, not eating or drinking, watching for any trace of me. But whenever I saw him, I would instinctively avoid him, acting disgusted to make him completely give up hope. Leo grew angry. He couldn't wait any longer. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? I've already apologized and said I'm sorry. Clara is in hospital now. All our obstacles are gone. Let's start over, give me one more chance. I'll show you how much I care for you. Mr. Ashworth, I can't accept your love. Didn't you say before not to regret the divorce? I don't regret it. But you, as a businessman, should know that a gentleman's word is his bond. Let's both move on. If you really want us to start over, we can talk about it after I'm dead. The negotiation failed. As he was about to leave, a burly man suddenly rushed out from the roadside, with a familiar look about him. Looking closely, it was unmistakably Clara's father. He charged at me like a madman, wielding a beer bottle. It's all your fault. How did my daughter end up in hospital for no reason? My money, all my money is gone. Leo, you owe me my daughter, you owe me money. With great force, he smashed the beer bottle against Leo's head. Blood trickled down his forehead. Leo pulled out a card. Get lost. Go as far away as you can. I don't owe your family anything anymore. Clara's father stared at the black card in front of him, one of only 10 in the world, and laughed uncontrollably. Thank you, Mr. Ashworth. Thank you. That little tramp who is just like her mother, I'll leave her to you to deal with. I don't want her anymore. I'm leaving now. I'm rich. Leo was sent to the hospital, fortunately only needing to recover from excessive blood loss. He thought this would be enough to win back my heart. But I couldn't care less. I casually hired a caregiver for him and arranged for him to stay in Clara's hospital room, letting them enjoy each other's company. After being hit by a lorry, Clara was barely clinging to life. When Leo was in the hospital room, the love in Clara's eyes had long since turned to hatred. They would start arguing as soon as they opened their eyes, even resorting to physical fights. Their bodies had nearly healed, but after such turmoil, they needed treatment all over again. I was busy at home preparing for my art exhibition. Despite taking a break for several years, I still felt joy when I picked up the paintbrush again. Thankfully, I hadn't forgotten my previous knowledge. After leaving the hospital, Leo became increasingly shameless, even acting as my bodyguard and following me around like a lost puppy. But I'm afraid it was too late. During his days in the hospital, I had already found a new man. Taller, more handsome, richer, and more considerate than Leo. So when Nathan appeared before Leo, he lost his composure and asked me, almost breaking down, "Who is he?" I kissed Nathan in front of Leo and said, "My boyfriend, who else could he be?" Leo collapsed. "You're dating? How dare you? Did you give me a chance? You've given all the chances to someone else." Nathan smiled. "Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared." Sorry. I got into his car to head to the art exhibition. Leo was left behind, banging on the car window and calling out my name. "Daisy, are you lying to me? Are you just acting to provoke my competitive spirit? Don't go. Talk to me properly. I'm the one who loves you the most. How could someone on 2 legs outrun something on 4 wheels?" He tripped and fell to the ground, crying in despair. Now he should truly believe that the person he had loved for years had been handed over to someone else by his own doing. The exhibition was simple, with friends and family coming and going, creating a relaxed and joyful atmosphere. Leo, like a restless spirit, managed to chase us to the celebration party. He even tried to tell me about Nathan's gossip. But I wasn't interested at all. In the past, if there had been any gossip about Leo, I would have gathered all the tabloid reporters, paparazzi, and private investigators to dig 3 feet into the ground to find out the truth, to see whether the gossip about Leo was just hype or fact. Back then, he found it annoying and boring. But now that no one was keeping tabs on him, now that he had been given freedom, he felt uncomfortable all over. It wasn't until later that he understood this was love. My parents were watching us, on the verge of good news, when Leo's arrival shattered all the beauty and fantasy. Dad, furious, slapped him. "My daughter once gave you love and happiness, but you didn't cherish it. Now you can't stop her from pursuing someone better than you. If you have any conscience, you should go home. Otherwise, don't blame me for being unkind." The happy smile on my face wasn't affected by him at all. Perhaps Dad's words really made him reflect. He looked at Nathan's and my intertwined hands, then left. The celebration party went smoothly. Although Nathan and I didn't have an overwhelming amount of love, we were the best choice for each other. He would understand my difficulties and respect my choices. Unlike Leo, who, no matter what I said or did, only believed in himself. Things progressed quickly with Nathan. The day after the celebration party, we got engaged. Leo lavishly sent me £1,000,000 as an engagement gift, and even went to auctions to buy all sorts of presents for me. There were dazzling arrays of jewelry and various styles of gowns. In the past, I would have been jumping for joy, holding Leo's hand and telling him how much I liked him and loved him. But times have changed. I was going to marry Nathan. I was getting married. After experiencing many ups and downs, I realized that a simple life is truly the best. Even if Leo were to proclaim his love for me to the world, it wouldn't change the fact that he couldn't let go of someone else and didn't truly love me in his heart. After the engagement came the wedding. Before the wedding, Leo did something earth-shattering. In the past, when we argued and neither of us was willing to apologize or forgive, he would always write a handwritten apology letter to make amends. But this time, I was determined to leave. So he wrote many apology letters, basically spending 24 hours a day writing "I'm sorry" to me. Except for eating and sleeping. To make sure I saw them, he posted them on various social media platforms. And even pasted them on street corners and alleyways. He even managed to cover that remote island with apology letters. When people who didn't know the situation criticized me as a gold digger or a bad person, he stood up for me regardless of his own reputation. speaking out against the injustice and explaining things on my behalf. He even made the gossip reporters who had caused a scene at the hospital apologize to me. The fans who used to stand by Leo's side switched to my side after learning the truth. After all, who could tolerate a man rushing off to be with his first love, whom he still had feelings for, on the very day his wife miscarried? Moreover, this first love had indirectly caused the death of his grandfather. What a disgrace to the family! Once the scandal broke, the stock prices of the Ashworths plummeted. Combined with Leo's neglect of the company while trying to win me back, it was the perfect opportunity for Clara to emerge. She added fuel to the fire by reporting to all the media about the unknown side of her relationship with Leo. She choked up in front of the cameras, saying, "It was all Leo who forced me. I didn't really like him, but my family was poor, I had no choice. If I didn't do it, he would not only put my father in prison, but also make me lose my innocence. Please don't blame me, I was desperate." As a result, most of the shareholders were unwilling to let Leo remain as CEO, clamoring for him to step down. The Ashworth CEO was the face of the company. How could he do such despicable things? Clara had struck a chord with the public. Who would have thought that the widely admired Leo was actually this kind of person? Clara even blackmailed him for a sum of money, enough for her to flee abroad and disappear from the public eye. From then on, she could escape her dysfunctional family and live a happy life. Leo was a golden boy, but now all his loved ones had left him. Everyone was calling for him to resign and get out. Knowing he was in the wrong, he voluntarily resigned from the company and went alone to that secluded isle. All the love he had was buried by his own hands, all hope destroyed one by one. Being alone and fending for himself was the best outcome for him. Nathan excitedly told me what happened to Clara afterwards. Guess what? Leo was quite cunning. The money he gave Clara was frozen. As soon as she tried to use it, it would trigger an alarm system and she'd be arrested. Serves her right. One on a secluded isle, one in prison. They really are a perfect match. No wonder they were a couple before. After hearing this, I didn't feel much. Both Leo and Clara had faded from my life. What I needed to do was cherish the present. I smiled slightly and adjusted his tie. "Didn't you say you'd accompany me for the prenatal checkup? Shall we go?" "Oh right, I almost forgot. We should hurry," he said, carefully supporting me as we left. Outside, the sunshine was beautiful, casting our joined shadows long and far as we walked hand in hand.